Now, Arya 3 starts off with Arya being tasked by Sirio to catch cats as part of her training, and I do like the idea that this large one-eared black tomcat that she is hunting is in actual fact the cat that was given to the daughter of Rhaegar, as it just seems funny considering the fact that it is described as old as sin and once stole food from Tywin, who was Hand of the King during Aerys' reign, and so therefore it makes sense that the cat was around at that time. And it does seem interesting that Syrio definitely is working for some form of secret agenda here, as the training Arya is undergoing is very similar to what we see her later learning in the House of Black and White, and so someone is obviously putting Syrio in position here in order to manipulate events and train Arya for a certain purpose, as we do find that the chasing of the cats strongly resembles Arya going through some form of maze, much like what we saw in the House of the Undying and Jon's dreams, as we see that she goes up and down and through all different parts of the castle, bearing in mind that the Red Keep has a sort of labyrinth-like design to it, very similar to many of the ancient structures of this world. And it is even revealed to us that when Arya first arrived here, she had dreams about getting lost here, very much like Jon's dream. She was trapped in an endless stone maze, going up and down and finding no windows, and the walls changed and shifted, sometimes hearing voices in the distance. So Arya, like Jon, has been getting sent these dreams about being trapped in a maze, which seems to be the fire version of the crow flying dreams, as the crow has people flying and picks out their third eye to give them the sight. It appears that the fire version of this is traversing the maze in order to unlock something in yourself. Now, Arya runs into Myrcella and Tommen with their scepter while chasing the cat, and it is at this point that we first get revealed that while running around in her rags and covered in dirt, Arya is mistaken for a boy, which comes into play later on in the books in very important points. Now, the final part of Arya's training, which I do find very interesting, is that most of the moves which she is being taught by Syrio are reminiscent of nature, which gives me strong Children of the Forest vibes, and makes me wonder that if Syrio is working for the Faceless Men to train Arya, and I believe that her ultimate goal in the books is going to be very similar to what it ended up being in the show. She is being trained to kill the immortal beings, and most likely she could even be the Valancourt, as the fact that she keeps getting mistaken for a boy further emphasises the point that the little brother could be Arya. And so I do believe strongly that the House of Black and White serves the Children of the Forest, who are a faction of the children who want balance, and that the others are just another faction who used immortality in their war against the fire beings, which we will get elaborated on as a hint later on in this very chapter. This is no longer a game for two players, if it ever was. Now, Arya ends up in a very dark cellar while fleeing the guards, and it is described as so dark that she is blinded, which is something that will come into play again later with the Faceless Men. And we discover that in this cellar is where all the Targaryen relics are being kept, in particular the dragon skulls, and this is notably very reminiscent of the imagery that we get for the crypts of Winterfell, the dead lining the walls, staring upon the visitor unwelcomingly in the darkness. And I believe this shows further that Jon, with his Targaryen blood linking into the crypts, shows us that the fire version of the dreams relating to activating magical powers is in actual fact the darkness or the dark maze trope. And we get implications here that the reason that someone should not go further down in the dream is because going down leads to hell, much like we get referenced in one of Old Nan's tales according to Arya. And sure enough, while she is in this great darkness, Arya comes upon a great well in the floor that descends further down. And it is up from this well that we find Illyrio and Varys ascending. Hiding in the dark, she overhears their conversation, and it is discovered that they now know that Ned has found Robert's bastard, and it is too soon for war and that they must delay, implying that whatever Varys and Illyrio are up to, they want war eventually, but their plans are not yet at fruition. However, Baelish notably does want war, as he has orchestrated everything so far, and Varys notes that the gods alone know what Baelish is up to, which may be a subtle hint by George that the gods themselves, the children of the forest, do in fact know what he is up to because they are directing him to cause strife in the realm of man. Now, it appears that Illyrio and Varys are able to meet because the tourney has allowed so many people to come into the capital that it is not questioned when certain people are there to meet up for secret meetings. And also, it is notable that Arya does not actually realise that this is Varys because he is in disguise. He is not acting like he usually does or dressing the same. And so she is unable to recall that it is in fact Varys when she later reports this event. We do find that the well that they come out of has a stone door that slides over it to conceal it, which is interesting as no one ever seems to talk about this from what I can see in many theories as to what is going on under the Red Keep. Maegor obviously built this in mind of the prophecy with a specific vision, hence why he had to get rid of all the stonemasons after, but why exactly is there magic sliding like Chamber of Secrets style doors going on here, and what is down there? And Varys reveals to us where in the timeline exactly certain events are occurring, as we know now that Stannis and Lysa are still considered threats. Renly notably wants to push Marjorie on Robert, and we also find that Varys now knows that Tyrion has been taken by Catelyn, implying that word has now gotten to the capital potentially of this happening. We also get the interesting note that Illyrio and Varys view the Dothraki as savages, so they are allied with them, but they do not respect them, which makes me wonder if there is more factions going on within their side than what we already know. And once again, Varys is referred to as a true sorcerer by Illyrio and is told to work his magic. And so Varys asks for gold and 50 more little birds, which he tells are safer for carrying notes, which is interesting as to what other method exactly are they using to transfer messages, unless Varys does indeed have a glass candle. Now, Arya manages to escape from the tunnel after they leave and ends up following a tunnel down outside, where she ends up in a sewer miles from the castle under a moonlit sky. And so the guards, Harwin and Fat Tom, find her and bring her back to the castle, where when she explains what happened to Ned, he believes that what she saw was mummers practicing a play and tries to dismiss it. We then see the arrival of Yoren, who, interestingly enough, would have been the one who brought news to the capital of what happened to Tyrion, as he was directly there. So this makes me think that Yoren is indeed working with Varys, as he took the news to Varys first, as we do see the Lannisters have not yet found out about the kidnapping. Now, despite Arya's protests, the guard Desmond escorts her out, and we are revealed that Ned has 50 guards. Whether or not this includes the ones he gave to the City Watch is unknown. However, the guard Desmond does say to Arya to console her that the wizard will not kill her father, as wizards die the same as other men if their heads are removed, which may in fact be foreshadowing Varys' death at some point in the future.